Good afternoon. This is the Harbor Management Commission Plan Update Committee meeting, June 17th, 2021. I'm Kim Taylor. Because of COVID, unfortunately, the public will not be heard by the committee. However, we welcome public comments, and those comments can be sent via email to hmc@fairfieldct.org, and please put Plan Update Committee 6/17/21 in the subject line. We'd also appreciate name and street address, and we then can include comments in the minutes. We will not include email addresses. And today we have Jack is present, Cheryl is present, Mark Foster, Harry French, okay, Jeff Stedman, I know you're here. So we do have a quorum and we can proceed. I know Mary Von Conta is planning on joining us, and I assume she will be here shortly. But I think our mission for today is to review the survey results that Jeff provided us, make a decision about what we do with the comments on questions 16 and 17, and then get ready to post the results on the website and communicate, I guess, with the folks who were so generous in publishing that there was a survey available, communicating back to those folks to let them know that there are results. I'm also thinking that, and I'd like comments on this, that given kind of where we are in updating the plan and in the other projects that the Commission is engaged in at this point, that we then have the Plan Update Committee take a break for a month or so, and giving Jeff a chance to do some time to do some of the work and include some of the comments that we have made about the various sections of the plan, get that work done so that we are, in fact we are in a position to be revising the plan. Mm-hmm. So any thoughts on that? Any concerns if we take a couple months off? Any objections? Nothing?
No, Kim, I said, it's Jack. I said that plan sounds like it makes sense to me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I'd like to keep moving ahead at full speed, but we've got a lot of other things going on, and, I don't want, it's summertime after all, and I don't want people to be resentful of the time that commission work is taking, and I think Jeff probably could use the time to get things to where we'd all like them to be. Is that okay with you, Jeff?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here, Mary Von Conta. Sorry.
Great, Mary.
Okay. Thanks for sending those things.
Okay, you're very welcome. Okay, so why don't we look at the survey results, with the latest version of the results that Jeff got to us this morning with the addition of the pictures, which I thought were great, Jeff.
It's the same results. I mean, it just
right.
presented, and just thinking about how to present it so people would be interested in reading them.
I thought the bar graphs, the different colors on each of the bars, just really, I mean, you can see the answer before you don't even have to read it, and the comments in the summary of the comments on each of the sheets, I thought, was also very good.
do you think we should probably still have a one-page summary of everything? You know, what are the takeaways from the whole thing? I know that was one thing I was thinking about. We have a.
So what would you just focus on? And I'm making this up. The most popular, the what most popular, the most popular answer, if you will, on each of them, and just kind of summarize that.
Well, you know, like for example, question 3. Although half of the respondents said they enjoy boating, that even more said that they enjoyed the passive activities. I mean, I thought that was sort of an interesting summary, and that, you know, as far as how the number of people that had access from the town boatyard as well as views from Harbor Road, and then the how important some of these other things are, and the importance of the priorities to complete the Lower Wharf project, work with the court. There was agreement that these are priorities,
right? And
I think there was generally support. You know, those last the number in 17, question 17. Although Mary said there was, you know, was concerned, there was one comment that said it should only be for the people who, you know, live on the harbor. But other than that, I thought there was generally support and appreciation for what the Harbor Commission is doing, and recognizing the need for. So I think we could put together one, you know, a letter from the chair that you know that would go along with this. That's just my thought.
Well, certainly I was. Yeah, Cheryl, Mary, somebody was going to say something?
Yeah, I think it was 17. The thing I objected to before, and I still object to now, is on 17. Let me see if I can back up to get to 17. I'm using the computer at this point. All right, let's see. We have... No. What am I doing?
It's one person, Mary, saying because they pay taxes, it should only be for them. And
no, it's saying that they should not pay extra taxes to take care of the harbor, and they don't. They pay taxes on the value of their homes, period. And everybody in Fairfield pays taxes on the value of their home.
Right.
And or whatever it is they have, and it is not. The taxes in Southport are not higher.
Mary, I'm having trouble hearing you. Are you talking into the phone?
I am, but wait a minute. Let me just hang on just a second. I'm trying to work with this computer. Hang on. The question. Let's see. Where are we? 15. All right. 16. All right. 17. All right. Now, at the I scroll down after 17. I get to 17. What's 17? 16.
Are you looking at the all the comments,
at the survey? Mary? I'm looking at. Oh, I'm not looking at those particular ones, but I am reading the. Yeah. Okay. 17. Okay. Here we go. Here we are. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so stupid, but I am. So let me go with that. All right. 17. Okay. Responses. Okay. The people who utilize the harbor the most, for example, the boaters, should be responsible for the biggest expense to maintain the harbor. We pay taxes to the town of Fairfield, and we live in Southport, and we are not in support of anything that will allow or promote the area to members of the general public to have access to the areas of the town which we pay to maintain through our taxes. That is extraordinarily erroneous.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, in my opinion, Mary. It's one comment, and the majority of those of the comments on that question 17 are supportive and expressing thanks to the Harbor Commission.
Yes,
so when we
are.
tried to write in the summary, presentation for 17, we made the point that you know the waterward of the high water line is part of the public trust area. The harbor is served by a congressionally authorized navigation project that must be open to all. Right. And we work to balance the public's rights with the rights of the waterfront property owners. I don't think we have to call. I don't think we have to call out, you know, statements like that.
No,
that's
I agree.
just my opinion.
I don't think we can.
I think it's important to show all the responses, to be transparent.
We just show them.
We don't own the responses of the public. We're just being transparent about what members of the public said. And I think that's true for both of those questions that had verbatim answers. I think it's very important, not that we're endorsing them, but that those are the gamut of responses that we got.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm very disappointed that anybody thinks with that mindset, because it's so irresponsible.
I agree with you, Mary.
I totally
just
agree.
It's our job to. We're not endorsing them. We're just reporting them.
I know, but I hate to have somebody grab hold of that and say, "Okay, let's have a march on the town hall." I don't think it'll happen, but it's so stupid, and it just.
Well, it is so stupid, and it's so selfish, and it's so. You know, if people really
goes out to the rest of the town as a message that many people in the town feel is exactly the way people in Southport feel.
Right. No, it's the way
very
people feel all over
publicity
town. I mean, I hear exactly the same thing up on the golf course. People think that if you're a resident of Fairfield, you ought to be able to play whenever you want, and anybody who comes in from out of town ought to stand in line second. And you know, not unlike the harbor, the town took federal money, and so they can't do that. And you know, nobody wants to acknowledge that. So, but I agree. I think the way in the summary, Jeff, in the how many page, 20-page summary of the survey, the way you summarize the comments on question 17 is terrific.
And just reference it, please see the attached list of all the responses, as Jack mentioned. So everything is published that has individual responses to them.
But nowhere is it written that I not noticed in this report anywhere that the boaters pay a permit fee for having a mooring, and they pay maintenance fees for the upkeep of the equipment that is used by the boats, and the yacht club pays a substantial amount of money for dredging the mooring field that they have the right to use. It cost them, $750,000 the last time around, or $500,000, I forget what, but whatever it was a lot of money. And not that they shouldn't do it, I think they should. But and I'm an ancient member of the Pequot Yacht Club. But people don't seem to realize that the boaters do pay extra for maintaining the harbor. And they pay, and whatever they pay goes into a fund, which is put back for the benefit of the harbor. That's what it's there for, and it's part of the state regulations that are attached to the harbor management plans all over the state. And any money we collect for the permits, tell me if I'm wrong, Jeff.
But we had that. We had that, Mary, in the presentation, because this isn't meant to be a. This is summarizing the results from the questionnaire, remember. So we talk about that the funds from the mooring permit fees go into the harbor in our presentation of the harbor. So when people went to this to fill in this survey or to complete the survey, there was a link, and if they cared to, they could go via that link to the presentation, which we asked them to do, describing the harbor and the programs, such as you mentioned. But here we don't have to. I don't think we have to repeat that. You and I and all
the people in this room or in this conversation are familiar with that, but other people aren't. They're not familiar.
But that's not the job of the survey. The job of the survey is to find out what people think, and if we're discovering that a lot of people don't know things, then it's incumbent on us to educate them in some other some other
Yeah.
time, some other way.
Jeff, it might be worth thinking about for questions 16 and 17, right after that last sentence where you say, please see the attached list of responses to this question, it might be worth a gentle sort of a statement that says that acknowledging that the accuracy of some of the responses is
yes.
We're not taking any responsibility for the accuracy, but we're just reporting them as written.
Yes.
but to make
That's
it
good.
clear that we understand that some of them are not accurate.
That's
good. Mary's making a good point that we're
That
not
shows a
endorsing
lack
these
of
responses.
real understanding of how things work.
Right. So do we want to?
But I don't think we don't want to tackle them one by one. We just need this is a survey and this is what people said. But we don't want to by publishing the verbatims. We don't want to suggest that we agree with them either in all cases.
No, the intent of the survey was not to judge the responses.
Right. But we can also say that something that suggests that we're just reporting them as received, and we're not commenting on the accuracy of any of them.
Exactly.
Right.
We have no
but
idea
I think that might
who
be
made
worth
that
adding
comment.
both
Is that
of those,
correct?
right?
We have no idea who made that comment.
Oh, right. We don't.
Right, but
We have no way of knowing, right?
But I do think we need to publish it. I just think that Mary, your point is good that we shouldn't.
Well, I do
suggest
too, but
I
just to add that little thing about one thing is not good enough. Is you have to be taking care of a number of different things. But it might behoove us to have a next year's summary of what went on in the harbor that summer. Summer would be for everybody's general interest. People have been interested in this. Does anybody besides the people in the harbor get that report, Jeff?
What report?
What report?
The newsletter that you send out at the end of the year.
Oh, the annual report?
We
annual
tried
report.
It went out to all the mooring permit holders, and it went on the town website.
It doesn't get out to the general town, right?
Well, on the website, Mary, we can't send it to everybody. We don't. We did the best we could to distribute it widely.
Yeah. Is there a section on the website where you could have something along the lines of a little note each time you put something on, or when you have a place for little notes that you can put?
If we publish something, we can have an announcement. But I think Jack's comment is sufficient, that we please see the attached list of all the responses that we received to the question, and we're just presenting them as submitted and not making judgments or statements on their accuracy or something. However, the way to word that properly is.
Yes, right. These are all statements from individuals.
Yeah.
The Harbor Management Commission is not making comments on any of them.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So
that helps.
Are we thinking that the answers to each one of the comments to questions 16 and 17 will be attached to this summary as well as being available to on the alternate link, which will provide the comments to all of the questions?
I do not think this would be at all anywhere near as useful as it is with all these comments attached to it, if they were in a separate place. I really think that it's important.
Well, let's think about that because well, I'm sorry to be talking here.
Go ahead, Jeff.
The way it printed out from the website, I can fix that so there's not like a whole blank page, and maybe cut and paste and then rescan it, and I think we could maybe have four things to click on. One is the letter to all the people who participated in the survey with a one-page summary of what we learned. And then is our presentation of the results, and then just as you might have an attachment to a letter that you send someone, you'd have an attachment for all of the individual statements that people made, attachment for 16 and 17.
Just an appendix, slides that are just an appendix that have the verbatim responses.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out
this,
the way this is oriented on the page.
It's hard to do that.
To have them. I can figure out how to do it though, and maybe just Yeah, I can figure that out. So it's all just an appendix. All right, one document.
Yeah, because if you have to have a link to something else, that's going to make an extra step and be complicated in a lot of ways.
Right.
I'm thinking about if we wanted to have a link to this in the from the online mooring system email.
All right.
It might be tricky if there's a presentation which has a link in itself. So if there's a way to do it as an addendum as part of this presentation, that would probably be the easiest.
I can figure it out. It'll just have the orientation of the page will switch.
I'm not smart enough to dial down the whole empty page to find these comments, and I was wondering where the heck they were. Finally,
So that raises the question. Then I thought we were going to publish two results. One which is this summary, and the other was everything that everybody said about everything, about every question. Are we backing off from that now and just saying we'll just do 16 and 17?
But when you get the results of the other questions, for example, 13, that summarizes everything we got.
Okay.
Right. Very important. Might be important. They click.
Right.
So those lend themselves to those statistical, presentations. It's just that's the result. We got so many responses. That doesn't say. I didn't include how many responses there were, but
right.
So I sort of.
And I don't think we need to. I'm just I guess focusing on the point we have a 20-plus page summary of the survey, and that's going to be what we publish with a couple of extra pages that have question 16 and question 17 comments in
well, because those pages are actively looking for general comments, right?
Right.
So that's.
I think there are going to be readers who are going to be as interested or more interested in the verbatims than they are in looking at the statistics.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Question 11 had additional.
They're curious about what other people think, and you get to read about what they think.
Yeah, right. I agree with you on that, and I like the idea that yes, you do have the drawing, so you see what percentage of the responders responded. But you also have with the photograph, you also have built into that page next to the picture the basic comments, the generalization of the comments that came forth on that. Mm-hmm. And then these pages 16 and 17 are asking for more general comments, in addition to what has been given in the other places, unless I'm terribly mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah. Question 11 has individual answers too, so that's another attachment that has to be made. I forgot about that. I've got all of those.
It's just the ease of. Well, I am without any doubt whatsoever, the only person now talking on this telephone who is so stupid about a computer. But I have a slight entitlement because I'm about to turn 88, and you guys were all brought up on computers. So I understand.
I wish.
But
so then we would take the question 13 and 11, and we would have 4 pages of comments at the end.
Okay, so question 11 has individual answers. I think we do for 12. I don't think these, unless let's see here.
I mean,
well, question 12 and 13, for example, those were just very important, might be important, not really important.
Right.
So there were 3 answer choices.
Right, and 14 as well.
Yes.
And actually 15. So it would be 11, 16, and 17.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
And 11 actually had a lot of responses. It had how many? 128.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just have to cut and paste those and make them into appendices or attachments, whatever we. Yeah.
And then in question
Jeff,
6, yep. Oh, sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
Finish this. I'm going in a little bit of a different direction, so I'll wait till we finish this line of conversation.
Well, I'm looking at question 6, and it says it says, and you can let us know in the comments section if you're not a boater. So we're referring to the comments section. Do we want to leave that parentheses, or do we want to include the comments?
Well, I don't see what difference it makes whether you're a boater or not.
No, but we've referred to the comments. That's my point. We've referred to the comments in our reporting of the answers. And so, do we want to refer to the comments and then not include them?
But I think the comments would be in 16 or 17, right? Is that what we were referring to?
Oh, is that the comment section? Okay.
I don't think there was a separate comment section for question 6.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. That's good then. Okay.
So, Jeff, one point I'm seeing is that the scale is different on all of these questions. Not on many of the questions, it varies. It does that because the highest percentage differs from question to question, and the way we're doing it now visually doesn't show the difference in people's reaction to questions as well as if we had the scale stay the same for all the questions. So we have questions like 12, 13, where you have the very importants are in the 70 and 80% range, but many other questions, the highest scores in the 40s or so. And this, if just visually, makes it seem like there's minimal difference between the responses. It's always some attention is a little bit much attention needed, and it's just actually in 7 and 8 that the colors are different. So I hadn't even noticed that. So in 7, much attention needed is red. In 8, much attention needed is blue. So we're really just saying the third biggest thing is blue, not the ranking. I'm just asking a question about the way we're graphing it and whether it makes it easy for folks to compare one question's responses with another.
Well, we can.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And
things that are one of the takeaways, if I were writing the sort of summary results, is that the most important things that people feel strongest about seem to be the dredging-related things. I mean, we get really very high, very important scores, understandably. But it's not as obvious visually because the scale on the other graphs makes the bar look very long when it's only at 40%. So I guess my question is, should we have the bars all go up to 100% and just be shorter bars? But in every graph, they're always up to 100%.
You might need somebody smarter than me. Remember, we worked on this for a long time, and we had at one time we had the vertical bars. Yeah. And then we had the discussion about how to, the answer with the most responses was going to be at the top on all of them. So we didn't have the, you know what I mean? We didn't have the.
So just so folks are seeing the much attention versus doesn't really need much attention, the color of that bar changes because of the ranking that answer got.
Because of the ranking,
from
right.
From one question to the next. So it's a little bit, I didn't even catch that little detail until just now.
Well,
for example, in 7,
I'll look at that.
Needed is the number 2 thing, so it's red. But in 8, it's the third highest scoring, so it turned blue.
I can go back.
I'm not suggesting that we should redo it then if it's going to be tricky to do.
I'm telling you, it's going to give me a
people
headache.
at the beginning that may pay attention. It's sorted like this, and so the same answer isn't always the same color. And also pay attention to the percentages because the scales are different as you look at the results.
But do you need the bars for, well, you've done so much work already, Jeff. Do you need the bars?
Yeah, I'm
for
thinking
when
maybe
you
we
get
just
into
describe
the
it at the
content,
beginning.
or
As you look at the results, this is just maybe on that first page.
I'll go back and look at it, but also the way the program generates the stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember we did it, I was repeating myself, we did it first with the vertical bars, then we switched it to this.
I can't remember if the vertical bars had the same issue, though, where the scale changed on question to question.
And then the other issue is that when you do that, so in the PowerPoint, for each of these pages, there's multiple inserts.
Right,
so
the
for
graph
example,
is one, the words are another, the picture's a third, right?
On question 8, community care, all of them, there's one insert that's just the bars. Then that you have to put into, to make the PowerPoint, another larger insert that has the things on the left side, the margins, some attention needed. You know what I mean? So it doesn't all come out. Maybe that's because I'm not the smartest, but it didn't, to make this, it's multiple pieces that get overlaid.
Yep.
So that the heading, the Q8, that's a separate thing that I typed in myself.
Yep.
To be able to put the, well, anyway, so let's
I think it could be disclosed at the top so that people, as they look at it, then understand the scales are different from as you interpret this presentation. Pay attention to the fact that they're in the rank order of the most common response to the least common response for each question, and so pay close attention to which responses got the highest and lowest, for example, and that the scales are changing. Some are, the highest is 40%, others are 80% of respondents.
Right, and if you add up the scales for each question, it should be approximately 100%, because everything is relative within each question.
Some of them are skewed much differently.
Correct.
So you don't need the bars. You just say 80% or 20%, right?
In question 3 and 4, we have we told people to answer check off as many boxes as they want. So
right.
We had even different.
So you get over 100%.
Yeah.
But the ones where we're just asking for a view and you have 3 choices. Cheryl's right. But
if you look at, I'm looking at question 7, 8, and 9, where we're looking around the highest response. The greatest response was about not quite, or around 40%. But if you could almost, and I don't know, Jeff, whether you want to do this on some of those questions, maybe you could just run the scale out. In other words, have the scale go. On question 8, on 10, it goes all the way to 50%. Just run the numbers on the bottom to 50%, or I don't know that we got 50% on answer on. I don't know if that's another way to kind of make it look a little more uniform. Or end it at 45.
Scale automatic, Jeff? Is it automatically generating the scaling of it?
Yes. So I'm looking at what came off of question 8. The original, the presentation from question 8. 364 people answered this, and 7 skipped it. And the way it's presented, that's right. We decided to have it all so the most answers were at the top.
Right.
We decided to do that. That's not the way it showed up here.
And that's the key variable, Jeff, what you just said. not everybody answered that question. I don't think we can, maybe we can, but I don't think we can absolutely say that 100% of the respondents answered 100% of the questions. So
we know that. And the SurveyMonkey presents that.
Right. So,
but what we changed was the SurveyMonkey presented it all, like doesn't really need much at the bottom, some attention needed next, and then much attention needed at the top. We adjusted that so it was scaled so it went from the most to the least. Do you know what I mean? We did
right,
that.
And that's my point. That people might think that the words on the left are consistent in the same consistent order, but they're not.
They're not.
I just think we should disclose that a warning at the beginning as people look at it. That's the whole presentation. That's how we organized it. And then the same thing on the scale. Just a warning, just a caveat for people looking at it. That the scales are different depending on what the variation among answers was on a particular question.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you get down to those, 12 and 13, you end up with 65% of very importance, or over 70% on 13.
Yeah.
And that's important, and it's not so obvious until you look at the scale.
The scale, you're right.
Well,
I don't think you should change the graphs, Jeff, at all. I think it's a disclosure issue at this point.
Disclosure issue. All right, let me.
Just like at the beginning of it, maybe it's going to change that first sentence, that first screen or something, to how to interpret the results.
We set this up so the top horizontal line was always the longest one.
Yep.
That's not the way it automatically came out of the SurveyMonkey.
Understood.
No.
And I think that's okay. I think that's okay, what we did. I just think we should point that out to people looking at the presentation, that the thing that got the highest votes isn't always the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you get rid of the graph at the bottom and just say some attention needed, doesn't really need much attention, and much attention needed?
I can't do that, Mary. I mean, maybe if I was smart, I could, but that's the way it comes out. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, I love the colors, but I wasn't paying any attention to the colors. I was paying attention to the graph. I mean, the numbers.
Jeff, to Cheryl's point, are there questions where there were dramatically fewer responses than others?
Well, I can look and see.
I mean, I think that's important. It would be important to tell folks that if there's a question that almost nobody responded to, we're showing.
No. There was never that.
So if there's a little bit of variation in the number of responses, I don't think that's a big factor
question
in the results.
I just wait. I have got this. Or is this question 8? This is question 6. So question 6, for example, 347 people answered and 24 skipped, and that was the voters. Question 5, only 7 skipped. Question 8, 7 skipped. Question 10, 3 skipped. So that's generally, it's probably the one with the voters is the one that had the most skips, if that's correct.
Yeah.
But that doesn't feel like it's skewing the results in a way that would be misleading.
No.
Right?
Nope.
Right. So I don't think we need to disclose that.
And only 2 people didn't answer their age group. 2 skipped that one. Yeah.
An anonymous survey.
Right.
I was really surprised at the largest number of people were from Fairfield as opposed to Southport, not Southport, but from Fairfield.
Mm-hmm.
Excluding Southport. And the next highest number was Southport. But I'm glad that there are that many people in Fairfield who are enjoying the harbor, too.
All right, so that I agree with what Jack said. And if we didn't, we could go back the other way. Just explain how the colors are, and how the graphs are arranged. That the top represents the most responses. All right.
And the bottom the least, but they're not always the same answer from question to question.
Right.
All right.
Pay attention. And then pay attention to the scale, because some questions have the most important, the biggest answers had much higher percentages in some questions than others.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And my last
looks
comment
good,
is,
Jeff.
I like both of the pictures that you're giving us choices about at the end.
I was just looking at that. I agree.
They're both looking at
the first one is the
harbor,
one that's on the
however.
first page of the presentation, though, right? It's the same picture.
It's the same view. It's a different image, and but it's the same general view.
Yeah, and the other one's
so maybe we go with Hugh Smith's photo
Of the houses? That's in the winter.
Of the sunset.
Right? Sunset, no boats in the harbor. On the left, Hugh Smith's house. On the right, the little boat storage place that Levinson put in. Not a boat in sight. Totally different.
In either picture.
In either picture, you're right.
Right, in either picture. Right. It's a good point.
So they're both barren, empty of boats.
Yeah, but we look at
okay.
I'm going to tell Hugh you don't like his photo, Mary.
You notice that I was able to tell you exactly where that photo was taken because I recognized the whole situation. But somebody who isn't that familiar with the harbor might not be able to figure that out.
However, but we have boats in how many slides? I say go with the sunset. I think that's a nice
sunset.
A nice change.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
The harbor is fading away into the past, and we'll see.
Right, and this is the end of our summary of the presentation of the survey, and we need to on the acknowledgement pages. We've got Ed's name as harbor master.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
He is not harbor master?
No, he has resigned.
Oh dear Lord! What's going to happen now?
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out, Mary.
Whew.
Right. So we'll just take Ed's name off then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I did that.
Question 15 has a photograph filled with boats.
Yeah. There are lots of boats.
And so does, there's slide, whatever that is, 15 does. Yeah, there's lots of boats.
Well, there are lots of boats.
I like the picture on question 8, the one from, when is that, the early 20th century or late 19th century?
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Very gorgeous picture.
We had these all in the presentation, or maybe one or two we didn't, but...
Do we also want to, you said presentation, Jeff, so excuse me for interrupting, but it makes me think, do we want to then also include the link to the presentation somewhere in our report?
We can do that.
I think we can't publicize that enough.
I agree.
It should be in a highly flagged place twice.
Yeah.
Really? We really hammer it home.
In 16-point type.
Yeah. with an American flag and hammer and sickle on the other side. And but at any rate, no, they really hammer that home in big, bold print everywhere you can. Because that's a really great piece. It gives more information about the harbor too.
Right. So
the first page, the cover page says draft on it too. I just want to make sure you catch it before we publish.
Right.
So when we first started this call, I think, Jeff, we were discussing whether we needed an additional slide. Maybe I misunderstood this, that with a note from Kim as the chairperson of the commission. I would suggest we just modify the note right there that currently exists to summarize maybe the top 5 themes out of the survey and not add yet one more chart to this pitch.
So right here where it says Southport Harbor questionnaire would be right
Yeah.
in there? Okay.
We would just embed, just modify the dialogue of the narrative to say, here are the 5 key themes we saw, and maybe after the signature there of Fairfield Harbor Management Commission, we do a thing called note, and Jeff includes there the dialogue we just talked about relative to the scale and how to read those the subsequent charts.
Right,
so we don't. So everything
idea.
is captured in one slot, and we don't have yet one more chart that people have to read.
Right. And or one more link or one more document.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know
idea.
that we can put everything on one page, though, to explain the summary as well as the way the charts should be read.
Oh.
You know what I mean? If we get that one page now, the second page that says Southport Harbor questionnaire, if we were to, I don't know that we can fit, our summary of the main points, even though that would be short, and then also have a paragraph on how to read it. I'll try.
Is there any way the first page with the picture? Is there any way we could crop it, shrink it?
Right. Do we need the picture?
I mean, the picture is great, but if we're trying to contain it all in one place without getting into a 30-page report.
Right. Because the end result here, I think we're looking for is for people to read this, not just say, oh,
right.
my God, we have to wade through 30 slides. Not that I'm being facetious, but...
Yeah.
I will try to work up something for you to look at and see if it works. Don't know quite how to do it right now.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like, Jeff, at worst, if we left it the way it is, we're talking about one additional slide.
Yeah.
To do the explanation of how to interpret the results.
Yeah.
It's a PDF, right? We're not printing it.
That's
no,
true.
It's
right.
a document
right.
that will be sent electronically.
Yeah. So people will scroll right through it. If they're not interested, they'll skip it and go to the next slide.
That's a good point.
I wouldn't mind if it went to 25. I mean, it's now 24. If we've got the note section.
Yeah.
As Cheryl suggested, and anything else that we want to communicate. So we have two pages of introduction before we get to where you reside.
Mm-hmm.
Picture, Southport Harbor questionnaire.
A quick guide to interpreting the results or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, because people who are interested will want to see that, and some people won't care. They'll just go flying right through.
Right.
Why don't you define what this question is? Stop calling it the Harbor Questionnaire and find a more precise description of what you were after in this particular survey.
We say that, Mary.
You wanted views from the public, basically, on Southport Harbor.
It's the fourth paragraph of that page that says Southport Harbor Questionnaire.
And here's how the public answered.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out. How, but the question, Mary, is how do we present it in one or two slides, and what additional information do we include to make that point? I think unless you want others want to do it, I think I'd take a crack at trying to do it and then see if you think it's all right.
No, I'm happy to have you give that a whirl, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're going to go ahead and do that, then I'd like to get this up on the website sometime in the next month or so.
Well, let's try to do it next week if we can, or if we can. Within a. I think we have to wait a month. And then as we finish this meeting, Jack and Kim, you may wish to look at your email inbox right away.
Yeah.
That's another task that we don't need to burden Cheryl and Mary with now.
Right. So you tell us what the timing on, Jeff, is. What kind of time you have to kind of to make some of the changes that we've suggested.
Let me try to get it finished by the end of next week if I can.
Okay. So, committee members, do you want to reconvene to just look at the final?
Seems awful that you have to have a committee meeting to do a little editing. You can maybe talk with one person at a time, or somebody who has a thought could let go with it and send it to Jeff. Just, I don't know.
Basically, in the interest of expediency, I'd be in favor of you and Jeff making the final call on the final version.
Yeah, I agree, Jack.
Okay,
yep.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then what I envision is when Jeff gets it done, we would get Betty to post it on the website and then fire off an email with the link to Sasquatch, the Yacht Club, community sailing, and just give them all a heads up that thank them for publicizing it. Many of their members participated, and here's where they can take a look at it, and thank you.
I think we can get Online Mooring to do an email in the absence of the harbor master and send it to everybody in the online.
We could do that too. Get it to the mooring people. Yeah, Cheryl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my aging memory here is failing me. But did we not at the beginning of this project advertise this in the Citizen or someplace?
You're right.
So why not? Yeah, right. So why not have a follow-up, just a blurb saying, hey, thanks everyone, for participating. Here is where you can find the results or whatever, just to let everyone know. Yes.
My aging memory has failed me too. But you're right.
It happens.
Brenda's Friday email blast was
and
really
she's still
a great
doing
resource.
Those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But I would just send it on to Sasquatch and those other groups because they did push it out to their members as well. So just as kind of a courtesy.
Yeah, they did.
You're right. Thank you for that. It was Brenda's. Yes. So, any other thoughts or comments? I mean, this is. I think it looks terrific.
It really looks good. Jeff, you're a saint. I've said it 1,000 times over the past 6 years. You're a saint.
You don't know the half of it. Excuse me, but he's always been a saint. At any rate, there we are.
Well, we have a lot of good things to work on, and
it's fun working on them. So
and nobody can make the argument that the decisions of the commission are not based on trying to pursue the public interest, and I say that in response to the recent emails that we just received, but we'll deal with that.
Yeah. Okay, folks. Unless there's any other
thank you,
comments
Cheryl.
or concerns,
you're welcome.
I think we're done here. I will when we're ready to put this up on the website, I will give you all notice so that you can be among the first to see it go live. And this has been great.
Yeah, it's good.
I think we can
Tim, you're going to stop the recording?
I wasn't going to do that, but we can.
Okay. I thought Jeff said he wanted to say something.
No. I just thanking Cheryl for her nice words. You didn't have to say
that. Anytime.
And then
Okay,
I don't know
folks.
I don't know if you've seen Lou and Lou's wife, but I don't believe she's feeling very well.
Oh dear.
So we should.
You know, it's interesting. I was
keep her.
Someone is. Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
No, nothing more.
One of my, or a couple of my buddies down at the Yacht Yard and I were chatting just the other day, saying we hadn't seen Lou and Cynthia, and I said, you know, that's not good because they always used to drive through together.
Yes.
So I may give Lou a call tonight and see how he's doing.
Well, yeah, he would appreciate that.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us know, Jeff.
All right.
Yeah, that's really too bad.
So we'll
Okay,
get back to work.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. I think we're adjourned.
Okay.
Good
All
work
right.
today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.